Hey friends, it's the WPress Doctor here, and in this video I'm gonna take you by the hand. We're going to walk through all the Divi modules. I know there are a lot of modules, but I'm going to show you how I use them, and I'm gonna answer the most asked questions are about the modules. For example, how can we get this block module to line out perfectly? And also, how do I add this toggle button back into the accordion? I'm gonna help you with that. It's pretty easy, but because of Divi has so much modules, I will be making a 5-part series of this video. So buckle up, because part 1 is about to begin. So the first module we're going to insert here is the accordion. Let's press this button, and here you can see the accordion just already starts out. So what you will see is that you have 2 tabs right here. You can duplicate it to make more of them. And if you press on this gear icon, you can change your title and your description. So for example, let's ask this question: what are your opening hours? Question mark. We are open between 20 hours and 2010 hours, so you better be quick. Don't forget, when you change the text, press this Save Change button right there. There are a lot of things you can change in this module. As you can see, you can change the borders, the titles, the text, the background, the icons. There's a lot to be do. So let's change the background color of the close toggles, and we're gonna make it this. Now we can't see our titles anymore, so we press on this brush and we're gonna make it white. Oh, we're gonna make it white. And then the background of the open toggles, let's make it also a bit lighter. All right, now we can't see this one, so we press on this brush and we're gonna make it white also. And then I want these titles, I want it to be a mere Poppins. It's a very popular font. And we're gonna make it a little bit bigger, but not that big. All right, so this is very clean. This is a little bit small, 14, so let's make it 18. As you can see now, you can change this all, and you can of course change the icon. Change the icons used in your toggle. You can also change the icon font size to make it bigger or smaller, but I think this is all right. The most common question I got asked is it possible when people load the page that this one is closed on default? And how do we do that? Well, it's pretty easy. There is no setting to do that. I think Divi will add it soon, but you just copy this one, just clone it, go to the settings, change the title to placeholder. That's only for you, so you know that there is nothing really in there. You go to advanced, custom CSS, and we go to the main element and we type some CSS, display none, and that's it. We press save this one. So now we have a placeholder who actually is open, but because we hidden it using CSS, that works really awesome. Now, another question I usually get is, how do we get people to close it again? Because when you open it, you can't close it anymore, as you can see. There is no way to close this thing. Well, it's pretty easy if you know how. What you actually need for this is a little bit of script. So we close this one, and we're gonna add another module, the code module. And it's pretty useful to add some code. So in this example, we're adding some script. You can find this script in the description of this video. Press Save Changes. I also want the borders to go a little bit nicer. I would like to have a black border. Now this looks pretty nice. Let's make it 3 pixels. And also I want a little bit of shadow on the toggles, and we want to have them a little bit more darker, and like this. All right, so now when we add a background to the section, it would look really great if my website is in this style, the orange near red. Well, of course, you can style it yourself. And of course, you can add a background image, and now you can see that these things are really nice. I think this is a little bit too dark, so you can make it a little bit less dark, but we're gonna save this. And now when you look at the front end of this page, So upon loading, we see that it is closed on default, and when we press the button, it opens. But as you can see, there is no closing button. Well, there is, but it is not visible. So what we're gonna do, we're going to the page settings, advanced, custom CSS, and we're gonna add a little bit of CSS to show the icon right there. Press save button, press save again. And now, when we look at the front end and we refresh this page, you will see that the toggle button has just appeared right there. So now you know how this accordion module works and what you can do with it. The next module we're going to talk about is the audio. This is a pretty funny module, as you can actually upload any audio file to get listening by your visitors. So let's make it real quick. Title is Singing Out Loud. The artist is the awesome WPress Doctor. The album is Divi 101. Alright, let's add some audio right here. We're gonna upload it. So make sure you upload a MP3 file, and then we press upload an audio file. Here we go. Alright, let's customize it a bit more. Let's add a image. Oh, this is a beautiful one. And let's add a background to our module. We'll just choose a background that you find useful, like this one. You can also add of course, a gradient, and you can, of course, also use a image with the parallax effect. Pretty awesome, if you ask me. When you hover your mouse over the module, you can, of course, change the image. You can make it more round, for example. So you can really make a portrait if you have an image with a background, but this is a PNG, but it also looks nice this way. You could add a image border to it. You could also add shadows. Well, you can do it all. Let's make the font a little bit more cooler. Let's make it a little bit bigger, and let's make it bold. Now I'm pretty happy with it. You can also change the caption text. Make it also bold. No, let's not make it bold. I think light was awesome. Alright. And we're gonna place it on the center. And we're gonna change the color of it. You can customize anything within this module. This is pretty ugly, but hey, who cares? Of course, you can add a border. It's the same with every module inside of this. And let's make it a cool border, but not the standard one, but let's give it a border on the top, for example. And let's create a dashed border. Okay, so now this is really awesome. No, of course not, but you get the idea what's also possible with this module. Let's save it and let's see if the Mies player works in real life. Yes, there it is, and it works. Just play to check if it works. La 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 la. I am the greatest WordPress doctor in the world. You're listening to the awesome sound of the WordPress Doctor singing out loud. Well, okay, pretty cool. Next module. So the next module we're gonna add are the bar counters. So the bar counters are just what it says. It's a bar with a counter inside of it. You can make use of this when you are talking about your own goals or specialties or your talents or anything like that. Let's add this one. We're going to add another module on top of it so it is clear for the people what we are doing. We're gonna add in my learning curve, and we are going to place that on top of here. Let's make it a heading, and you can see it's much beautiful right now. Let's change this one, my learning curve. All right, WordPress general. Well, I'm at 40% right now. Divi Modules, well, I'm just starting, I'm only at 5%. And the designing websites, no, I think I'm pretty feeling well, yes, right? So actually you can do this with all kind of things, and the funny thing is you can just click on this and drop it anywhere, so then we have a nice steep curve. Maybe it is even better if we go from 5%, 25 to 40%. Alright, you can even close the percentage sign on this one. You can even turn it off, so that's very nice. Now with every module you can style anything. So with this button you can style the font. Let's take another font. Let's go with the Poppins font and make it a little bit bigger. And let's change also the color of the background color. Well, it's not actually the background color, it is the color of this bar. So let's make it red again. And here you change the sizing. Now, this is very useful because most of the time your module is just like the half of the row. So you can change it right there. If you change it, don't forget to change it back on a phone, because or else it will not fit on your page. This totally doesn't fit at all, but it's just for the example. So the most common question I get about this module is, how can we make this thing bigger? Well, it's really easy. You go to design and then you go to spacing, and we're just gonna give it a little bit of padding right there and there. So now you can change your padding up and down so that you can change the width of these bars. So the bars are pretty cool, and you can of course change the background so you can make it even more interesting. And then if you want to change the background of the bars that are not filled, you can actually go to the background, and here you can change this one. So if you want to give another color, this is the place to do that. I think it's hideous, so we're just gonna reset it and make it a little bit, or you can make it white, but you can also make it transparent. That is also very interesting. If you now add, for example, a border, that would be really funny. And if you save this module and you go look in the front end, you will see that, just refresh it, you will see that the bars are actually loading inside of your bars. So you get a really nice small effect of your bars. Pretty cool. So the next module is the block module. If you press the block module, then you will immediately see that this is the full white block module. You can change it to go to design, layout, and go to grid. Now you have an awesome grid. So if you just want to style any elements of this block module, just press the brush button and just change it the way you want. There are a few things that are very important in this one. One is content elements, and you can easily change the elements on this module. So I would like to see a read more button. I don't like the style of this button, so let's make it a little bit another color, make it a bit bigger, and let's get in a little bit of pop-ins right there, so it will really pop out into my face. Alright, I want this one to be aligned in the middle, and I want this to be a different color from the rest. And also I want to give it a little bit of underlinement. Right now it's very clear what to do. So what I also often do is just not give the image a border, but to give the entire thing a little bit of a bigger border and make it a little bit darker. And what I mostly like is a shadow on it. Now, these are all easy things, and you can just do that right out of the box. The question I get most with this module is, hey, WPress Doctor, all these modules are not the same height. How does that work? If you go to the settings of your row and you go to design and you go to sizing and you say equalize column heights, nothing happens. How is that even possible? Well, let me give you an idea how to fix this. So to get all these modules lined out the same height, we have to do something. Press on the settings, go to advanced, go to CSS ID and classes, and enter the CSS class grid equal height, and save this module. So when you've added the CSS class, now we need to add some coding right to this page. We're gonna click over here, we're gonna add code module, and we're gonna paste this code in right here. You can find it in the description of the video. Press save page. And now when we reload the page, you can see that all columns are in equal height. This is pretty cool. You can also make this into 2 columns. And doing that is pretty easy. Press the gear icon on the module, go to Design, go to Layout, and put it back on full width. Then we go to Advanced, Custom CSS, and go to Main Element and paste this. Here you go. Now it is 2 columns. Now this doesn't look very nice on the back end, but if you save this page and we go to the front end of the website, you will see that it looks really awesome. Well, no, it doesn't look awesome. It's a mess. So what we need is a little bit of CSS code to fix all this. Go to the settings of your website. You go to your theme options. We're just gonna add a little bit of styling right there. We press Save Changes. And then we reload the page, and as you can see, something has happened. Well, it is not looking very pretty, so you can still style it the way you would like to do it. If you want to make it 4 columns, just press this button and go to the Advanced Custom CSS and make it 4 and press Save. Now, this looks like a giant mess, so let's press Save it. And let's see how it looks on the front end. And as you can see, now we have 4 columns. So the next module we're going to talk about is the Blurb module. The Blurb module is very nice and I use it a lot of times. I usually use it this way. Let's add a title and a description. After you've added a title and a description, you can add an image, for example, this image, but I would prefer to use an icon. You can do it with an image, but you could also choose an icon right there. So let's choose an awesome font and we're gonna style this icon. Press on the brush icon. We're gonna make a beautiful color and we're gonna place the icon on the left side of the text. So now you have step 1. Well, the cool part about this one is you can also add a circle to it, which is pretty awesome. You can also only add a border to it, which is also really great. And you can, of course, use a little shadow to it. So you can style this icon really the way you want it. You can also make it a little bit bigger because I think it's a little bit small. Let's make it like this. So let's make this a 4 column wide. And we're gonna just copy this blurb, place it over here. And we're gonna just change it to step 2. And of course you would need another icon, so we just select another, I like this one, and you could just save it there. Now it will be better if you have a background right there. Let's use an image for that, and you can see that it is way cooler if you now change the blurb. So we're gonna change the fonts, we're gonna make them white so you can actually read them. So you would need to style them, and I really don't like that white circle behind it. So let's just make it a little bit of lighter. Let's just create another module like this. Let's style it a bit more. Make the font, let's go with Poppins. Really like to pop. All right. Now, if you want to use this style on the other blurb, you just press this button and you go copy module styles. Then you just press this button and you do paste module styles. That is not useful if you're having a lot of blurbs. So let me show you another way how to do that. You can just change this color right there. Let's say I want it black. Just save it, press this button and say extend blurb styles. You want to expand it through this row, this section of this column. Let's do this section. Press extend. Now you can see that all the icons become black. It is a very nice way to style all your blurbs throughout the page. What I really like to do with these blurbs is that they pop when you hover over it. So you go to design, you go to transform, you use the hover option, you press hover, and you make them just a little bit bigger like this, and you press save. Now if you save this page, and I go to the front end of this page, you will see that when I hit my mouse over it, something will happen. And that's pretty cool. And the next module is the button. Well, we all know the easy button. It is just a button which says click here. Of course, you can change here the text of the button. Here you can enter the link of your button. That is pretty useful. Use the same window if it's on the same website. Use a new tab if you're referring to another website. If you go to design, you can align it within your row. That is pretty obvious. You can change the colors. I would not use this one to change the colors. I would just go to button and use the custom styles for your button, and here you can change anything you would like with your button. It is a very good command to save the button from the start. When you have designed your button and you're happy with it, go to presets and create a new preset from your current style, or just edit this preset style. And now if you want to change your button, then it will be changed throughout the entire website, which is very useful. More on presets in another video. I created 22 things you're doing wrong with Divi. Alright, you can give your buttons also a nice shadow, which is cool. If you have a white border, then it's pretty cool to do that. What I like to do sometimes is to create the button background, go to hover, and I like to make it another color. So when you hover on it, it just changes the color. That is pretty cool. Let's just save it and see how this button works on the front end. As you can see, it really pops out right there. It is cool, so people really definitely know what's going on. Now you can also change this icon. Just go to your button and go to your show button icon. You can turn it off, then you see no icon at all. You can use an icon, any icon you would like to do. Here you go. Now it is really like this video. It's a real great button there. Another thing you can actually do with this button is to go to transform and to make it really stand out on hover. It's really funny to use these skew options and just save it. Now when you see this page live, something really happens with this button. Now I would suggest not to use this kind of animation if your target audience is not expecting such a playful button. Now, if you don't really like the alignment of your button, you can change it, but you also have a little bit of course, you can use the spacing just to get it somewhere you would like to have it. But there is another way you can actually move it. You go to transform and you go to transform translate. And you can actually use this to place the button anywhere on your screen. Just remember, on other devices, it's really going to get crazy. So you have to really go to this sections and go to tablet and phone to see how it goes there when you're using this transform translate option. Because this CSS can really mess up your website's layout. Let's go to the next module, because the button module is really straightforward. So the next module is one of my favorites. It is the call to action. With the call to action button, you can really create something awesome. Let's make our call to action right there. And let's add the content right also there. And let's create an awesome button which says subscribe right here. Now you won't you won't see the button unless you enter a link. So the link is subscribe, and the target is a new tab because I will be linking out to a new place. Now the subscribe link URL, this is only for the button, but you can also use the entire module to make it a link. So now the entire module is a link, and we're going to do it in a new tab. Alright, let's go to the background, and we're gonna make this one a little bit dark red, so it really pops off your screen when you have other things. And when you hover over it, I want it to be actually greenish. So there's a really high contrast right there. I like this one. Right, we're gonna save it. I want this call to action be full white on my screen. So I go to the row settings, go to design, go to sizing, and I enter my white to be 100%. Then I go to the max white and I also add 100%. And here you go. It's beautiful. I'm gonna save this page. Let's see how it looks on the front end. And when I hover my mouse over it, it just turns green. Now let's do another fun thing with this call to action. So let's just add a pre-made layout from Divi itself. Let's use this one. Yes, it is sure. Not replace it, just place it underneath it. As you can see right now, we have a little bit of content of the template. So let's use this one and drag it all the way down there. And now we're gonna add a cool effect. I want this section to really hit on the one below it, so I press the section and make it the padding 0 and the margin also. And I go to my row and I'm also going to make the design spacing, and the bottom is 0. And as you can see right now, it just really nicely closes to the other one. Now let's add a cool effect on this module. Just press the call to action settings. We go to advanced, we go into scroll effects, and we're going to do a horizontal motion. Now this is pretty awesome. As you can see, when I scroll the page, it really will pops into my screen. All right. So what do I want to do? I want the ending offset to be 0. And that means it is in the center. And I want the starting offset to be -50. And as you can see right now, what happens, it will really flow into my screen from the left side. This is pretty cool. Let's see how it works on the front end. This is a beautiful template from Divi. And when it see, whoa, here it comes. So this call to action is really in your face right there and with everything. Now you can of course style the title, style the text, style your button. But as you can see, I really like this kind of call to action because it is really straight to the point. Now with this module, of course, you can change the background into an image or anything else. But as a call to action, I would really like to keep it clean and really make it pop out and stand out between all the other content on your website. So we're going to the next module, and the next module is a circle counter. So let's create a circle counter, and because we're talking about organic materials with soap, we are going to tell them how much organic materials in there. Well, of course, we got a little tree bark. That is always 80% of soap. You didn't know that, didn't you? And we're gonna save this one. And then I'm gonna make another one. And the soap also contains 10% of octopus slime. And of course, we have another. The other 5% is just marketing terms. Nobody knows actually what's inside of them. And the last 5% will be a unhealthy color additive. Okay. So we're gonna change the numbers a bit. 25% is this one. Let's make this one 30%. And let's make this one 70%. Well, of course, as you can see, the numbers don't really add up, but that's okay. Now we're gonna style all these circles. Let's make first the circle a little bit more bluish, because our style of the website is also bluish. So let's make it, let's see, this one is cool. All right, let's make the number a bit more black, so it pops out a little bit more. You might have guessed it, we're going for poppins. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger, not too big, of course. And we're gonna save this one. Now, I really like this one, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna extend this style to the other ones in this section. Wait a minute, let's do it this row to make it safer. All right, now they're all the same. All right, so now we're gonna style this blue circle right there. Let's make it a bit more bluish from the other call to action. Okay, and I want to extend these styles, so we press this button and we press extend circle counter styles to the entire row. Extend, and now they are all the same, and it looks pretty awesome. Of course, you can also change the sizing of it. You can make them smaller, but if you make them smaller, make sure you also make the number text a little bit smaller. You can also make it more spacing. I don't really like that. So you can change all the title text and the number text. Let's also make this one a little bit nicer. and you can align the different sizes, but I would really suggest you keep it in the middle. With the size, you can actually create quite a nice effect. If you go to this one and you go to sizing and you change this size, you can really make them pop out if you want to do that. Design, sizing, make them a bit smaller. So it is just what you want to make stand out. It can be done in this way. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just a circle counter settings. And what does it look on the front end? Let's save it. If you just load this page, you will see that these circle counters are working perfectly. Really awesome. All right, let's go to the next module. And the next module is the code module. It is very straightforward and I can be very short about it. We have seen it in action with the other modules. Just paste in your code and make sure that after you've pasted in your code that you lock your module so that nothing can be altered or changed and you can just use it in this page. Now with the code module, just know when you enter code, it will only be used for this page. You can also use it for script and it will look like this, and of course in between you enter your script. You can also use it to add some styling, some extra CSS. I would really not know why you would do it right there, because there are already 3 places to add styling to your page, but it might just come in handy. I always use this module also when I want to enter a shortcode. For example, for a Gravity form or another plugin I've been using, and I will be using this code module to enter the shortcode. It really works awesome. So the next module is the comments. So with this comments module, I can place anywhere on any page and any post a module so people can comment on this page. Let's see how it works, because right now you can really not do anything. So we're going to save this page and we're going to add a comment so you can see what happens when we edit the comments module. So right now you don't see any comments because I have closed the comments for this page. So I have to go to edit page and then I have to go to discussion, and here I have to press allow comments. Then I press update and now it will be possible for us to enter comments. I then refresh my front end page and now you can see that it is possible to submit a comment. So let's submit a comment and we can edit on the back side. Hey there, awesome doctor. Your videos are great. I just subbed and liked all of your videos. Can I get your phone number? And the name is Crazy Lady, and the email address is clady@wpress.com, and the website is WPressDoctor.com. Alright, we submit this comment and someone else will reply and says, "No, of course not. Are you a troll? Name Troll Police." And the website is alright. So we submit those comments and now we have a few comments which we can work with. We're going back to the back end of this page. So as you see now on the back end, I have 2 new comments waiting for moderation. Let's see what it says. These are from the Crazy Lady and the Troll Police. So let's approve them. And let's get back to our page. And now you see we have the comments and the submit a comment. Alright, let's fine tune this entire module. As you can see, we can first change the titles. Of course, let's go with Poppins. And let's align it to there. Then we have the avatars. We can make a round image with them. These are just the standard options of gravatars and images, so this is really great. This looks a little bit more better. Let's change the names also to Poppins. The comments themselves, let's change them to Ledger. And of course here you can submit a comment. Let's make this a little bit bolder. And the comment section, I really don't like this gray area, so we are going to change it to a little bit more bluish. I would like to have more dark bluish. And we're going to change the field text to white so you can really type it. And when the focus comes to it, so when you're going to type, it's going to turn white. But then you can't read it anymore, so we have to use this black. Here you go, it's a little test. As you can see, isn't that awesome? I really don't like this button, it's really ugly, so we're gonna use a custom button. Of course, let's make it white. Let's make the background color a little bit like this. And I really want to change the font. Let's make this Poppins. This is way better. Also, I want an icon. Submit our comment. The icon should be white, right? You can style the entire button as you would usually do with buttons. Let's add a little bit of shadow. Right, this box is just pretty ugly now. So we're going to change it to white and it's back, and when you start typing it just stays the same. Why change it whenever it works? But it is nice if you can add a little bit of a border to it. Let's make a little bit of a border to it, and it's nice if you have a double border. And the gray is, let's make it the dark red from the buttons. Alright, this is way better. Now, if you want to style it, you can always change, of course, the meta. Also, it's the text after it one. And that is great. Okay, so now we have quite a different form. So that's really looks great. Let's save it. And the gravatar will be added if people have an account with gravatar.com and their image will appear there automatically. So that is really cool. Now, the beautiful thing of this comment module is you can place it anywhere in your page. For example, if I have this handyman services website, you can just place the comment any place you would like to have it. So let's put it down there. The only thing is we just have to style the buttons back to blue again, and then we're all set and done. Isn't this great? The comments module is very useful if you have an engaging target audience.